Howdy everyone, Matt here. I got a question for you. Do you think it's blown out of proportion when people talk about like, oh, people just go get certifications just for letters after the name? They don't mean anything. Do you think that's real? Let's talk about it. All right, everyone. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. My name is Matt. I am Matt the PT, coming at you with another video on another topic of something from the physical therapy world. But first off, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means so much. If you like the stuff, hit the subscribe button. And of course, if you like the video, please hit like down there. But let's get right in on this about the certifications. Now, I saw this here recently. I was on LinkedIn and somebody made a post. They said, I did a couple of the McKinsey courses because I wanted to become certified in it, but then I realized I knew the principles from school. Then I decided, well, I'm going to kind of do this and I'm going to do that. And so certifications are just silly. And I have heard that for over 15 years now. I still hear it when people talk about, oh, certifications don't mean nothing. People just chase them. They just want to get those letters after their name. And I feel like when something has been talked about or like with that kind of a conspiracy for like that amount of time, it's like, okay, really? Especially with social media. This is the way that stuff is spread around. That it's like, you're talking about that for so long. Do you think that really is going on? Do you just think that is just what people are doing? And a funny thing as well, the people who are typically the ones that are really big on that, I'm talking about, oh, certifications don't mean that. They don't mean that. They're often pushing their own courses that have a certification. Really kind of funny with that one. But anyway, I feel like I could talk about this because I'm on both sides of it. I am, I'm certified in MDT. I've done the certification. I went through the diploma program. I have a fellowship in AAO and PT, so I did the fellowship, and I'm certified in dry needling. So I went through the complete thing for certifications. But I've also been on the other side. I've taken courses that have a certification, but never went all the way to the end to get their certification. So I've seen on both sides of it. And so that's why I really want to talk about this, because I think there's actually a lot of value in going all the way through on a certification. But I do think there is a little bit of a thing that you do have to keep in mind, which I'll bring up in just a moment. Now, one thing I've really noticed through my time of working with other people, and you meet therapists all the time that, well, they'll talk about, well, I like to take this course. I took this course. I took that course. And this is like, they're always just wanting to get little bits. I want to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of this and this. I could do a little bit of everything. I just kind of sprinkle all this, a little bit of stuff in. And what I've really seen, like when you like working with them, is that they don't stick with things very much. Okay. As soon as they hit a roadblock with something, oh, I'm going to switch. I'm going to go over to this. Oh, no, I'm going to switch. I'm going to go over to that. I'm going to go. And it's just like they're always just kind of bouncing, and they seem to have trouble with very challenging, very complex cases with patients. That's just something I've noticed. But when I've met therapists who have like these high level certifications and things like that, they often know what the next steps are, what the progressions of things are. Okay, if this happens, we go here. And if this happens, we go here. We know when to keep going. We know how to progress somebody. We know when to stop. We know when to refer to someone else. Okay, I can see that. And I've noticed that, like I said, in my career, and I had a very good example many, many years ago when I had a student, is that we had an older guy come in with back pain. And he was very stiff. He had like no extension in his spine, and it hurt. He kind of like, when he went back, and it kind of hurt to move. And working with him, and I was going to say, we found that repeated extension and lying, the press ups, had some promise. And we sent him home with that. And he came back in 2 days, and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm just hurting so much. Oh, I'm just so harsh. And I could see in the students' eyes that they were like, oh, no, we got to switch. We got to stop. We got to do something else. And I went, no. We asked a few more questions and found out it was mostly just a soreness. again, think about it. This guy has not moved his back into extension. All of a sudden he's stretching tissues and he's just sore. That's all it was. So we're like, no, please just keep going with it. He came back for that third visit. He goes, oh yeah, I'm feeling way better. And actually his motion has started to improve. He wasn't getting that little grab. He comes to the back. And it was just this thing where it's like, whoa, you want it to just, as soon as there was a roadblock, I just want to abandon. Now I've seen that as well with chin tucks. Now this is this always kind of drives me nuts. When people, they bash the chin tuck or the cervical protraction. When they bash that, oh no, you just, that doesn't do anything. There are progressions to that. And I'm going to tell you this, nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever talks about, okay, you didn't see progress with this. There are many more progressions to go with it. There are many more that you can go. You saw something in the beginning of why you gave that. Hopefully you understand you saw that. There are so many more progressions. You didn't understand that there were progressions and abandoned it. Okay. And that's what I see what helps somebody become better. When you really learn a methodology, an approach, an intervention, you understand it so well. And you're able to see when, again, those little things come up, okay, that's not a bad response. Okay, we need to proceed with a caution. No, we need to do this. No, we could possibly add this other thing in to help this person. You know that. And I remember this thing, what was it, Picasso said? He said, when you know the rules, what is it? He's like, you know the rules to break them. Okay. I've seen that with, he's a painter, or with music, that when people try to like, oh, I want to try to break the rules on this stuff. It's, you don't know the rules well enough to go against them or to change them or how to work, with an artist on how they create something. And if somebody's like, well, I'm just trying to be all over the place, it just doesn't sound as well. It doesn't look as good. But if somebody's like, I understand what we have to do, I understand the rules of doing this, but I know how to break them just the right way to get this masterpiece. Really, really think about that with these famous artists, these painters, these musicians that understand their craft so much that they understand, again, I can work with this and I know how to twist this thing and I know how to change it. I know how to manipulate it and it still fits into this, but it's something that is just so amazing. And like I said, that's what I feel like sometimes with these certifications will do, is it will teach you many times with those progressions, how to go to the next step, when to go to the next step, when to progress, when to refer, when to do those things. Now, I mentioned earlier, I do feel like there's a bit of a caveat with it. I've taken some certifications that are practical in nature, where you have to demonstrate and show that you have the knowledge, versus ones where you just give the knowledge. And I will say there's a big difference between when you have to demonstrate it versus just regurgitate it. And I've known therapists who took just the ones that you regurgitate, who never treat, and will pass these certifications that have them. And I'm like, you just know enough to have studied and passed an exam to get that. You don't do it in practice. You just knew how to take the test. Versus that, no, you have a patient, you have someone there, you have to do that. And a very interesting story I've heard on that, I used to work for a company, and the CEO tells this story that he did Dr. James Syriax's certification, and they had to do a practical on someone. And he said, I walked in this room, and it was Dr. James Syriax was the patient. And he said, oh, hello, how are you? And he goes, I'm doing good. And he said, Dr. Syriax was mimicking a jaw dysfunction perfectly. And he said, I was very nervous, but then I kind of relaxed up a little bit and did it. But it showed that he knew the methodology. He knew the approach. He knew what to do in that case, rather than just being able to regurgitate the knowledge. And I would suggest to anybody that if you're looking at that stuff, and again, kind of going back to what that person said, oh, I learned the principles. Truly, probably not. You probably heard them, but you don't know the next steps. And that's what I ever hear about anybody that talks about with MDT. Well, we learned them in school. Like, nah, probably not. You probably got a very brushed over. You don't understand the full depth and breadth of it. And I would say the same thing about other methodologies and stuff that I have not went through. I'm not going to say like, well, this is good or this is bad, because I don't have that deep knowledge of it. So I'm not going to say anything about it. Now, I will say there are some that I know people who are certified in it, but it's still the goofiest thing I've ever seen. But that's for a different talk on a different day. But let me know. What are your thoughts about it? Okay. Do you think certifications are actually worth it? Do you think that there's some that are better than others? Do you think that, would you tell people to say, hey, if you want to learn some of the certification, go through it, learn it, become that expert in it. And when those people, they say it, do they often have a certification of their own? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and belief. And if you like the video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you a copay or anything like that. And until next time, take care of yourself. Take care of your patients. I'll see you then.